The Connecticut Department of Labor welcomes you to this video regarding the Trade Adjustment Assistance Act, also known as TAA. This video will provide an overview of this reemployment program, which is available to individuals who lost their jobs due to foreign trade. Trade services and other workforce development programs are offered through the Connecticut American Job Center Network. Whether a person is unemployed, looking for a different job, or interested in getting back into the labor market, American Job Center services are available to anyone, regardless of employment status. We encourage you to visit our website or stop by one of our centers to learn more. Centers offering trade services are noted at the end of this video, and the web address will provide you with the listing of all of the American Job Centers. Thank you, and best wishes in your workforce pursuits.
Please note, the trade program described in this video is based on the 2015 program amendments. If your certification is covered under a previous year's rules, certain benefits and requirements may be different. These will be explained to you by your Connecticut Department of Labor representative. What is TAA? The Trade Adjustment Assistance Program provides benefits and services to eligible workers who have lost their jobs as a result of foreign trade. The trade program is funded by the United States Department of Labor. The Connecticut Department of Labor acts as its agent to the state and provides case management services to program participants. The primary goal of TAA is to help workers return to suitable employment as quickly as possible. Suitable employment is considered to be work that is of equal or greater skill level to that of your trade-impacted job, and at least 80% of your former pay. To participate in the trade program, a petition must be filed with the U.S. Department of Labor for consideration. If the U.S. Department of Labor determines that the company's workers qualify for Trade Act, it certifies the group of workers and assigns an impact date and an expiration date. Once certified, the Connecticut Department of Labor works with the company to identify and notify the affected workers of the potential benefits available to them and how to apply. There is no cost to the employer for these benefits. Am I eligible? To be eligible for TAA, you must be part of the worker group specified in the certification, and during the certification period, experienced a total or partial layoff, or individually, you were in danger of total or partial layoff. After you submit an application for benefits to the Connecticut Department of Labor, you will receive a determination letter, either approving or denying your request. If denied, you will receive information regarding your appeal rights. If approved, you will be scheduled to meet with a career development specialist for a benefits rights interview and begin assessments and case management services. A customized plan will be developed for you that outlines your best course of action for obtaining suitable employment. What are the TAA program benefits? TAA benefits include reemployment services, trade readjustment allowances, training, job search allowance, relocation allowance, reemployment trade adjustment assistance wage subsidy, health coverage tax credit. Let's look at each one of these benefits in more detail. Reemployment services. Reemployment services are available at your local American Job Centers. Reemployment services include career counseling, development of an individualized employment plan, employment workshops, resume assistance, job search assistance, access to labor market information, career exploration tools, specialized veterans services, and more. Also located in your American Job Centers are Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act services that are separate from Trade Act and may help supplement and support your reemployment needs. If you have not yet done so, you should register with the Connecticut Department of Labor's CT Hires Job and Skill Matching Database. CT Hires is a powerful tool for your job search. Trade Readjustment Allowance. Trade Readjustment Allowance, or TRA, is a weekly income support payment that is available to trade-impacted workers who are enrolled in a full-time TAA-approved training program or who have received a waiver of training. To be eligible for TRA, you must have been employed by a TAA-certified employer for at least 26 weeks of the 52 weeks prior to your layoff, and must first exhaust your regular unemployment insurance benefits. Generally, TRA payments amounts are the same as the unemployment insurance you received. There are 3 types of TRA support: basic, additional, and completion. Basic TRA provides 26 weeks of benefits if you are enrolled in full-time TAA-approved training, have a waiver of training, or have completed TAA-approved training and are conducting a job search. Additional TRA provides up to 65 weeks of benefits if you are actively participating in full-time training and need additional income support to finish your training. Completion TRA provides an extra 13 weeks of benefits if needed to complete training that will result in a degree or industry-recognized credential and upon successful completion of all training benchmarks. TRA Training Enrollment Deadline. If you are eligible for TRA, you will be given a training enrollment deadline, which is specified in the TRA determination letter you receive. You may not receive TRA after your training enrollment deadline passes unless you enroll in TAA-approved training before the deadline or receive a waiver of the training requirement. If you miss your applicable deadline through no fault of your own, you may still qualify for TRA. Your career development specialist at the American Job Center will explain the options available to you. Waiver of Training. A waiver may be issued if, after an assessment of your employment and training needs, training is not suitable and appropriate. If you receive a waiver, you may still be eligible to receive basic TRA. However, you cannot collect additional or completion TRA while on a waiver. There are 3 types of waivers. A waiver may be issued if you are unable to complete training due to a health condition, if no training program is available, or if an enrollment date for training is not immediately available. If you receive a waiver of training, in order to maintain eligibility for basic TRA, you must fulfill a work search requirement until you are enrolled in training. This entails making a sustained effort to obtain work and reporting work search activities each week. Your career development specialist must conduct a waiver review every 30 days while the waiver is in effect to make sure the waiver conditions are still applicable. Once your waiver is no longer in effect, to qualify for any remaining TRA, you must be enrolled in TAA-approved training by a certain time period, which is the Monday of the first week occurring 30 days after the waiver ends. Weekly claims for TRA. Claims for TRA payments can be filed in person, by mail, or email. They cannot be filed by telephone or through the Department of Labor website, so payment delivery may take longer than regular unemployment insurance. Each weekly TRA claim must be accompanied by a training attendance form or details about your job-seeking efforts if you have a waiver of training or have completed training. TRA job search requirements. Generally, you must contact a minimum of 3 employers per week, with efforts made on at least 2 days of the week. You are required to accept any offer of suitable work within your capabilities. You must consider other types of work, including work below your highest skill level and work that pays lower wages. You must also keep a record of your job-seeking efforts that includes the date of the employer contact, the company name and address, and your method of contact. Training. If you and your career development specialist determine that you would benefit from training, you will work together to develop a plan that best suits your needs and employment goals. Several different types of training can be approved under TAA. These are occupational skills or vocational training, which includes college-level degree or certificate programs, and the necessary prerequisite courses, as well as apprenticeable trades. Remedial education, which includes adult basic education, general educational development, and English as a second language. Employer-based training, which is on-the-job training, or training customized to the needs of a specific employer or group of employers. For customized training, an employer must contribute at least 50% of the training cost and promise to employ you when training ends. TAA will pay for 100% of tuition, course fees, books, required supplies and equipment, and transportation, as well as other items or services necessary for you to complete an approved occupational skills training program. For a TAA training plan to be approved, 6 requirements must be met. There must be no suitable employment available to you. The training is reasonably available from either governmental or private sources. There is reasonable expectation of employment once you complete the training. You have the background, education, skills, or experience needed to succeed in the training. You have the physical, mental, and financial capabilities needed to complete the training. The training is suitable for you and available at reasonable cost. First, you will need to look for training in your local commuting area. If you are unable to find training locally, you can be reimbursed for mileage if you travel over 40 miles one way from your home to the training facility. If the training is located beyond a commutable distance and you have to stay somewhere other than your primary residence, a subsistence allowance is available to cover expenses such as lodging and meals. Cost of your training, including tuition, supplies, mileage, subsistence, and equipment, should not exceed $23,000. If you exceed this limit, justification is required to approve the training, and any financial aid for which you are eligible may need to be contributed to the training cost. Training should be of the shortest duration necessary to enable your return to work. A maximum of 130 weeks in training is allowed. A training plan submission must include labor market information data, showing there is limited potential of returning to work in your most recent job category, and that there is growth in the field in which you are requesting training. The plan must also include documented training benchmarks. 2 criteria benchmarks will be evaluated. 1. Satisfactory academic standing, and 2. On track to complete training within the agreed-upon time frame. Reviews with your career development specialist must take place every 60 days. Successful completion of these benchmarks is also a condition of receiving completion TRA. Incumbent worker training. Training may be approved before you separate from employment. You must be certified as eligible to apply for TAA benefits and determined to be individually in danger of total or partial separation. While participating in incumbent worker training, TRA is not available because you are still employed. On-the-job training. On-the-job training is when an employer is willing to hire and train you for a job different than the one from which you were separated. In on-the-job training, the employer will be reimbursed up to 50% of the worker's new wage. Although you may have received TRA prior to training, if you are participating in an on-the-job training program, you are considered an employee of the hiring company, and you are not eligible for TRA benefits. Your on-the-job training plan may include multiple components, including online classes, but you are only allowed one training plan under a single certification, and it must result in a credential. For example, on-the-job training may be one component of a training plan that also involves classroom training, remedial education, or both, as long as all components are consistent with the occupational goal established by your reemployment plan and all TAA approval criteria are met. You must comply with specific rules and responsibilities to remain eligible to participate and receive training benefits. Before you begin training, you will be given documentation that specifies these rules and responsibilities. For example, before you make any changes to your training, such as dropping a course, you must first discuss it with your career development counselor. In addition, you will be required to provide grades, progress reports, transcripts, and diplomas during your training. It is part of the Connecticut Department of Labor's responsibility to the U.S. Department of Labor to monitor your program at periodic intervals. Failure to comply could result in a suspension or termination of your program and the potential of having to pay back funds already spent. Job Search Allowance. A job search allowance provides reimbursement for pre-approved travel, meals, and lodging expenses that may be necessary for you to attend an interview or secure employment. Reimbursable expenses include restaurant receipts, parking expenses, gas, and hotel rooms. One or more trips are permitted, as long as the interviews are for suitable employment and the requests are pre-approved. The Job Search Allowance covers 90% of allowable costs while you are seeking work outside your commuting area, up to $1,250. Reimbursement is subject to the limitations of the prevailing per diem rate authorized under federal travel regulations for the locality where the job search is conducted. To be eligible for the Job Search Allowance, you must be found to lack suitable work opportunities within your commuting area, defined as within 40 miles from your home. Application instructions and requirements are available from your career development specialist. Relocation Allowance. The Relocation Allowance covers reimbursement for pre-approved expenses related to moving you, your family, and your household goods to a location where you have obtained suitable employment. The allowance covers 90% of all reasonable and necessary relocation expenses. Additionally, you may receive a lump sum payment equal to 3 times your average weekly wage, up to a maximum of $1,250. To be eligible for a relocation allowance, there must be no suitable work opportunities within your commuting area. You must receive a bona fide offer of work within the United States that requires relocation outside your commuting area and provides a reasonable expectation of long-term employment. Travel and moving allowances are subject to limitations imposed by federal travel regulations. Application instructions and requirements are available from your career development specialist. Reemployment Trade Adjustment Assistance. Reemployment Trade Adjustment Assistance, or RTAA, provides a wage supplement benefit for trade-impacted workers age 50 and older who obtain lower-paying work. RTAA can provide up to 50% of the difference between your former trade-impacted wage and your new wage, and help bridge the salary gap between the old and new employment. To be eligible, you must be employed full-time or part-time if working at least 20 hours per week while participating in full-time TAA-approved training. Your eligibility period begins when you exhaust your unemployment insurance or begin your new job, whichever is sooner. RTAA payments may not exceed $10,000 during a 2-year eligibility period. If you receive any TRA, your RTAA eligibility period will be reduced by the number of weeks you received TRA. Your new work cannot pay more than $50,000 per year, excluding overtime, or be with the same firm or subdivision specified by your Trade Act certification. Once you receive RTAA, you may not resume filing for unclaimed TRA. Application instructions and requirements are available from your career development specialist. Health Coverage Tax Credit. Health Coverage Tax Credit, or HCTC, is a program operated by the Internal Revenue Service that covers 72.5% of qualifying health insurance premium costs. If you are an eligible TAA or RTAA recipient, you may be able to claim this credit. For more information, visit the IRS website, www.irs.gov. The following is a list of American job centers that provide Trade Act assistance services. For a complete list of American job centers in Connecticut, please visit www.ct.gov/DOL.